Hey everybody, welcome to the dgenerationxl podcast. My name is Big Joe Yarbrough, wrestling's biggest fan by at least 60 pounds, and I'm here with my tag team partner,
Dylan Pack, and today we are in week 3 of the Wednesday Night Wars. We've got NXT going head-to-head against AEW, and boy, we've got a lot to talk about today.
It's that, you are absolutely right. A lot more matches on NXT, but a lot of action on AEW, and we're going to be covering all that and more here on the dgenerationxl podcast, where we bring you all things wrestling all around the world.
Break it down! Degenerate into something fool. We just got tired of doing what you told us to do. That's a break, boy. Yeah, that's a break, little man. Break it down!
And welcome back to the dgenerationxl podcast. I'm your host, Big Joe Yarbrough, and we're going to dive right into it. We are on week 3, Dylan, week 3 of the Wednesday Night Wars, and we're going to be talking about the 2 events, AEW Dynamite on Wednesday and NXT Live on the USA. And I'm really stoked because the action keeps hitting up. Last week felt like a little bit of a lull for both companies.
Yeah,
but they
the ratings showed it. The ratings showed it last week too. They both dropped significantly. NXT a lot more percentage-wise, but wow, this week started off with a freaking bang, and I was at the edge of my seat the whole time watching AEW.
I have a question for you before we get into it. You watched AEW Dark the last 2 weeks, correct?
Yes.
Do you think that Dark has something to do with kind of the hype building up to Wednesday?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they started off, like, even being the Elite as a YouTube series, so they know that they're going to have people that watch Dark. And I just couldn't believe it. Like, if you go watch, like, WWE's main event, or what was it when I was younger? It was, like, Velocity or something like that.
Yeah, Velocity or Sunday Night Heat.
Sunday Night Heat. If you watch any of those, the production value on those shows are just so dead.
They have none of the announce team that's there.
Yeah, they have second-string announcers. They've got nobody in the stands. They've got it feels like second-string camera work. And I watch AEW Dark, and it literally just feels like the third hour of AEW Dynamite.
I agree, Ed. If you didn't watch, match of the week, Janela and Omega go the distance in a lights-out, unsanctioned match, which, shout out to my boy, Joey Janela, having an 0-0 record.
He's clean, baby.
He's clean as a whistle, dude. He's got no record on him. No record. He's clean as a whistle.
Good for him.
He's a bad boy.
He knows how to stay in it.
Absolutely. But AEW kicked off in a big way. They highlighted, they're in Philadelphia. That's wrestle country right there.
Yes, it is.
That's East Coast wrestle country, diehard wrestling fans, and it showed it from the beginning. The crowd really was in it. Did not look like there was an empty seat in the house. And
they actually have the lights on so we could tell.
Exactly. And so we go right into it. We're going to cover all of Dynamite and then head over to NXT, give you our thoughts after. We open up with the boys from our home Golden State in the lower, closer to the equator part, the SoCal boys, SCU. And we have Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian, who are going to be tagging because Scorpio Sky said they've got the experience.
Yes.
We also found out from the announcers there will be no Freebird rule.
I love it.
The title cannot, switch between them. It has to be the people who actually competed. And if you have a member of your faction during tournaments, they are not allowed at ringside.
So really, the better man is always going to win.
Exactly. So that's really cool. So Scorpio Sky was not allowed to be at ringside, and for the best friends, Orange Cassidy was not allowed to be there. And so we get started with SCU kicking it off, which, you know me, I am biased towards it. I think SCU is the best kickoff.
I was going to say they listened to you because last week on the podcast you talked about always having SCU open the gates.
Because they come up with they get the cheap pop. You get this is the worst sound I've been in it, and the song.
They didn't do it this time.
Well, they didn't get a chance to.
And why is that?
Because our boys from the Temple, the Lucha brothers, Pentagon and Phoenix, attacked SCU.
Yeah, that was out of nowhere for me.
It was out of nowhere. I guess they're saying that they were a bigger threat to them than the best friends. But what was crazy to me was, one, Christopher Daniels is an older guy.
Old, yeah.
And he took a bump.
I think he might actually be hurt.
You think he's hurt?
Yeah.
You think X is up?
I think he might be. Because when I watched the pile driver back, he's
was
all
sitting a
head.
little low?
He's all head.
Yeah, he takes a
You
package.
could see his head bounce off the steel.
Yeah, he takes a package pile driver or a Cielo Medo driver right onto the steel ramp, and they bring him out. But Scorpio Sky comes out
To make the save.
because they're going to do some kind of like double underhook like pile driver. Phoenix about to do that to Kazarian, and Scorpio comes out in jeans and t-shirt and just street clothes to fight him off. And he realizes SCU can't be eliminated this way, so he gets some tape from an official, tapes his hands up, takes his shirt off, and he comes in with jeans, his Adidas Gazelles, and comes in with his Gazelles, shirt off, and goes, "We're going to do this, him and Kazarian."
As Christopher Daniels is getting stretchered out.
Yeah, that was pretty serious. And man, what a match!
I was telling Joseph earlier today, I feel like I'm a child. Like I'm a kid. I'm so entertained.
You got some younger-ass talent with the Lucha Bros, but who've been doing this for a long time, and they're legitimate brothers. So they know what they're doing together.
Mm-hmm.
You've got SCU who are veterans, and you got the young upstart, but with all the charisma, all the poise, and all the potential to be some kind of a breakout. I hate to say it, like kind of a Kofi Kingston of the SCU with Scorpio.
Yeah,
Scorpio
definitely the
Sky.
workhorse.
The workhorse of it. And did he show it? He at one point gets tagged in, and his Adidas Gazelle, one of his Gazelles fly off, and one of the best friends, Chucky Taylor.
Chucky Taylor bites his friggin' foot.
Bites his foot, throws the shoe. He goes and does an amazing tope suicida, amazing just like hot tag spot, rips his Gazelle up and throws it into the crowd, and then they throw it back in the ring, and he goes to grab it again and put it on.
And the freaking ref took the shoe away and threw it outside the ring.
Yeah, it was.
Give the boy his shoes back.
Yeah, it was great. And it was so fast-paced, a little bit of a rougher ending in comparison to the whole match, but still.
Yeah, the finisher that they tried to pull off was kind
powerbomb
of
drop
botched.
kick.
Yeah, it didn't look very good. It was a little bit late. I'm kind of sad that they didn't try a new ending because that one did not seem realistic enough for me. But that was the only down for this match. This match was amazing from start to finish. What a hell of a way to kick off a show.
Amazing, yeah. Tag team wrestling, really bringing it in AEW again. So then we move on and we get another tag team match.
Yep.
They're highlighting and they're showcasing their best division.
Yeah, you have to work with your strengths.
Yeah, so we get the debut of Inner Circle members, Santana and Ortiz, which is the name they're sticking with. We don't get La Raza. We don't get, LAX, because, that's owned and copyrighted by Impact Wrestling. And they go up against the Purple Jobbers.
The Purple Jobbers.
And from start to finish,
Poor guys.
brutal. It's a mugging.
It's a mugging. And we've all seen a squash match. We know how this one goes. I think the highlight of this one was actually the ending when they're walking up the ramp, and we get Chris Jericho on.
Whoa! We get La Champion, Chris Jericho.
The champion.
La Champion.
The champion, Chris Jericho.
La Champion.
On the Teletron. And
put some respect on the name. So,
I respect it.
There you go. Okay, La Champion. Continue.
He goes on the screen and just cuts a great promo, basically just putting over Santana and Ortiz. And if you were watching, you heard it. That's Ortiz. Yeah, that's Ortiz. You heard Ortiz just yelling, "I'm the best.
We the best.
I'm the best.
Yeah.
I'm the best. The best.
Just give me the best. The best. The best. So you can't even really hear Jericho's promo because you just hear homie into this camera that is not on him.
No.
Yelling the best. And then you hear I think it's Santana actually kind of cutting a sick promo where he's like, the Inner Circle. You either you down with us or you're looking up at us. And I was like, oh, that was pretty tight. But you can't hear it over Ortiz. The best. The best. The best. The best. You're like, dude, does homie have Bubba Ray Dudley syndrome where he's like the best is the only word he had. But we heard that the Young Bucks will be taking on Santana and Ortiz, I think, at Full Gear.
Yeah, because they wanted the best. They wanted to go up against the best tag team to prove that they are something in this division.
Awesome. That was great.
Next up, after Santana Ortiz versus Purple Jobbers, we had Rijo, the first inaugural AEW Women's Champion.
Your girl, dude.
My girl Rijo, dude. I love her. Going up against the Doctor, Britt Baker.
I love Britt Baker a lot. I can't wait till Britsburg comes next week.
Ooh.
Hear the pop. But I loved her entrance. I don't know what it was. I love the whole, like, the challenger from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Britt Baker. And then she did the DMD. And I'm like, oh, dude, I love that. I love it.
Yeah.
They wrestled a great women's match. This is the best women's match I think I've seen on AEW programming.
Yeah, they definitely stepped it up a bit. Well, they have two great workers in there.
Yes.
Britt Baker knows what she's doing. Rijo knows what she's doing. As they keep saying, actually, they said today, Rijo is younger than Britt Baker, but Rijo has
double the experience.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's crazy to me.
And it was a good match. There was still some of the lack of fluidity in the matches that the women have. And again, matching up with the WWE product from NXT, SmackDown, and Raw, there was still some noticeably, like, there was improvement. But I think for myself, it was like, wow, there was an upping in the game. There was some solid wrestling, solid chain wrestling, good spots, nice amount of stiffness for the indie fan. But we get Rijo sneaking a victory, and I think it was a good way because Britt Baker has that kind of crossface where she sticks the fingers in the jaw, almost like a mandible claw crossface. Rijo is trying to defend it by keeping her mouth closed.
Great camera work. She gets it locked in, but Rijo, with the ring awareness and the experience as they kind of played up in the storytelling, rolls on her back and covers her in a roll-up pin. 1, 2, 3. Rijo is still your AEW champion. And what I love about this is the belt is constantly defended. Every week, I feel like it's been defended.
And here's the best part about it. It's been defended and no DQs. No contests, no countouts. She is winning clean.
Yeah.
We're getting decisive finishes that still tell a story. Britt Baker gets a handshake at the end, and you're still building some of that story. I don't know if you noticed Britt Baker, fire highlight, fire eyeshadow, really bringing the makeup.
Yep.
But even Jim Ross says, Britt Baker, if you notice, they zoom in on her face in the camera. She told makeup artists, don't cover my black eye. I want it as motivation to remember what Bea Presley did to me. Continuing the storyline, even when Bea Presley didn't show up, which I loved. And, man, it was a great step up for them.
Listen, I was just telling Joseph this earlier today. I understand that Dynamite's only been around for 3 weeks, but, oh, my God, they are storytellers.
And the production value has gone up and up and up and up every week.
And I just want to give a shout out to the commentators because those guys help these wrestlers tell their story.
Yeah, I think
they really know what they're doing.
I think before we got on to AEW on TNT, there was some learning curve. It wasn't indie wrestling anymore. JR and Tony Schiavone needed to get the mix with JR, but now it's eerie hearing the voice of Monday Nitro and the voice of the Attitude Era Raw, and they are just killing it. And Excalibur is actually bringing some.
He is definitely getting his input in, and I love it. He fits right in.
And it's great. This is the best commentating team in all of professional wrestling right now.
I would agree, 100%. Next up, we had Lucha Bros, our boys from the Temple, come out and they're up against Jungle Boy and Marco Stunt because we had Luchasaurus had an injury.
He has a hamstring injury. It's undisclosed how long he'll be out for. Our thoughts and our prayers go out to the greatest dinosaur, who also...
I mean, he's pretty old.
He's old. Yeah, he's what, like 2,000 years, unless you're a creationist, 100 years?
Yeah.
Maybe. But, he's 2,000 years old. But he probably is going to be able to heal and heal up a lot faster because he does have a master's degree.
That's true.
So he probably knows a little bit more.
He probably's got some buddies.
Exactly.
With doctorates.
Exactly. Right. But, man, this I thought was going to be a lull because it's like, okay, we got Marco Stunt in there.
Which I was definitely down on Marco Stunt. I had not really seen him wrestle. He's kind of just been like a gimmick for the Jungle Express.
He's been like the male Zelina Vega for the Jurassic Express.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
But, wow, this really opened my eyes because I was saying earlier, I'm not the kind of person that says a wrestler has to have a certain look. But when I look at Marco Stunt, I'm almost like... the guy's like way too small for my liking.
He looks like a child.
Yeah, he literally looks like a child. We thought he was 15 years old until we looked it up.
Yeah, he's like 23. He's still very young.
Really young.
But dude, homie is small. But dude, the beginning of the match, he wanted to start the match with Pentagon, which I'm thinking, somebody call, CPS. Someone call CPS. This lost child is gonna get abused by his Tijuana foster father here, and homie takes a Cero Miedo, gets it in the face, and drops him from just a Cero Miedo. He gets up, pushes Pentagon, which he no sells even the push. and flosses. And he even kind of throws a little jab at him. He pushes him and he goes, Mira, and then flosses on him.
I love it.
Man, this match.
Like I said, I was not.
I'm hot. I'm hot from it.
I was not expecting what I got. They really put on a show, and I was entertained the entire match. There was not a downtime in this match. And the innovative offense that I've seen from AEW, it's absolutely, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's fluidity too. It's not just spots because WWE can make spots. Anyone can make a spot.
Yeah.
But they have such fluidity now with like Marco Stunt, avoiding some offense from the Lucha Brothers, then getting thrown into Jungle Boy getting a little spot with up the shoulders, but then throwing him into the Tornado DDT Hurricanrana, but then him getting super kicked into oblivion by Phoenix. And then just the abuse that Marco Stunt takes, the chops.
What a sell.
The kicks, the slams. At one point, Pentagon has him in a gorilla press and just takes one hand down, is holding homeboy up. I was thinking, this is so good. And when they...
Again, storytelling.
Again, when they hit him, we get the hot tag from Jungle Boy, amazing offense, stiff elbows, uppercuts, just all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then to finish, Marco Stunt just gets a sequence. He gets his arm broken. The arm breaker gets up, tagged in, super kicked, in a package pile driver, and they plant him. Part of his scalp is ingrained in that ring mat.
Yeah, it was pretty
with
bad.
That package pile driver doubles foot stomp, and Lucha Bros are moving on.
What a great match. I really hope that Marco Stunt comes out with a sling next week. I really hope he sells the break.
I hope so too. I think so too. But I think all around, it's like, dude, what a phenomenal match they go to. So
next up, we had Kenny Omega and Hangman Page versus Jon Moxley and the Bastard Pac. This was a match that they originally announced on social media. So when we saw the match live, we were taken away.
Yeah, we did not see that coming. I didn't see it coming. I was like, this right here, this matchup is better than any of the. I'm going to be pretty blunt here. Just the marquee of it.
Just the names.
Just the names alone. In my personal opinion, it topped any card match on any pay-per-view, regardless of promotion. And we went to Mania this year. I think those names were bigger than Mania this year.
Wow.
I think seeing that 4 names in a row, you're going, whoa.
Yep.
Whoa. And we were saying it too. Omega, the guy that WWE wished they could have got. Adam Page, the guy that Triple H's boy that he would have loved to see as NXT champion. Mm-hmm. You got Pac, who he was just saying, I'm done. And they just never used him right.
Underused.
And then you've got Jon Moxley, who said, I think wrestling needs to be different. And he has the paradigm shift. And you're going, this right here is a concoction of everything that if you hate the product and you hate the way it's been booked recently, not only did this match have the potential to be that, it was that. It delivered. It delivered.
Yes.
Storytelling. Again, it's the theme.
Wow, I'm like so speechless. I'm watching this and I can't even express how entertained I was.
Go watch. Go
and watch. This was a hard-hitting match. We had the storytelling we're talking about is halfway about 9/10 through the match. We had Kenny Omega grab his broom with the barbed wire on it, and we had Jon Moxley grab his bat with the barbed wire on it. And Jon Moxley actually hits Kenny Omega with the bat, and Pac runs in and throws the broom out and throws the bat out, gets in Jon Moxley's face and goes, dude, think about what you're doing. I don't want to lose. Why are you doing this?
Which is amazing storytelling still because Pac cares about
wins and losses.
And that's his gimmick. He wants to be the best. He doesn't want to lose. But Jon Moxley's character he's unhinged.
He doesn't care about the wins and losses.
He's like, he cares, but he doesn't care. It's like he's on the edge, like maybe like just right on the fringe.
You think so?
I think he's like right on the fringe, and he's not all up there. He's not sane. He's not a psycho.
You thinking like a lunatic almost?
He's like a fringe lunatic.
Wow.
And he's like, character told way perfectly, but we get the double birds, Mox to Pac, and the paradigm shift that just plants his partner Pac, which also Pac slices his finger, hoping he's okay.
With the barbed wire, yeah.
With the barbed wire that he throws out, he gets planted, and then we get out of nowhere as he comes up, Hangman with the decapitation buckshot lariat. Just the clop. I can't even make with my hands without like breaking something. Just this boom, and he just inside outs him, and I go, oh my God, if he gets V-triggered, he's gonna be brain dead. And he starts getting up and he's in the corner and you just see Kenny Omega just pull the finger gun out, bang, and just V-trigger. And then immediately Homie gets up, dead eye, 1, 2, 3. Pac gets pinned for the first time on AEW television.
And this, he did not like, obviously. So this is actually setting up a match for next week. We have Jon Moxley going up against Pac.
Storytelling.
Exactly. They're going along with it. And I'm sure this is going to be a hell of a match.
And it gives great storytelling. And it was needed because it gives some more clarity, but still more to tell. Jon Moxley doesn't need the win. He's got an unsanctioned match, and he beats Sean Spears. Mm-hmm. Pac doesn't need them. He's beaten Kenny Omega. He's beaten Adam Page. Adam needs the win ever since his loss to Jericho. Kenny needs the win after his loss to Pac. This gives him a little bit of redemption, and they can move on.
Yeah,
this
finally.
is so good, so good. Our main event we get to here, Darby Allin versus La Champion and the leader of the Inner Circle, Chris Jericho. From the start, amazing, because we get Darby Allin with his custom face paint written all over his body, champ.
I loved it. Oh my God, I loved this.
And then to add more storytelling to a match that's on a regular scheduled programming, Jericho, for us that are more diehard fans of it, he shows up with his Painmaker gimmick, with his New Japan Painmaker when he went up against Okada for the title. All that. And I don't know if you remember, one of my favorite parts of that gimmick is when he had the paint, the crooked black lipstick, the eyes, the whole like fedora, and he did that whole gimmick where he's like, I'm going to win. I'm going to win. I'm going to win. I'm going to win. Like that was so, like he's just crazy. He's unhinged. And it showed that he has a way to match up against the Darby Allins.
Yeah. He can put on a great match against anybody. We give praise to this guy every week, but Chris Jericho is still a top performer in the business today.
A little bit of a miscommunication on the side of the live audience. The announcers announced this is a Philadelphia street fight, but they did announce that there will be rope breaks as well.
And submissions. I don't know why they said that.
Yeah, Excalibur said and submissions. It's like, well, yeah.
Duh.
But they said there will be rope breaks involved. So the Philly fans who are ECW diehard alums are sitting there, and there's a couple rope break moments, and they'd start to chant, it's a street fight. There's no rope breaks, but they're thinking of rules from other promotions and companies. But this promotion, on the announcement side, which I'm sure they didn't hear, there are rope breaks. Mm-hmm. So at least for the viewer at home, it made sense. But for the live, there was that miscommunication of why they're chanting it. Amazing match. It still makes Darby look strong. It makes his punishment level look great.
It does.
And we get Darby keeps reaching for the ropes. Deep synced in walls of Jericho. It looked painful.
I think it's so deep because I don't think he has the strength to like half stand.
Yep.
I think he has to sit down nowadays.
Well, he can always do the lion tamer with the knee to the back.
Yeah, but I think that's going to be one of those things where you only get it every now and again when he has to finish an opponent.
That was amazing. We didn't get a Judas Effect finish.
No,
but
we didn't.
Yeah, we got that. Darby Allin gets taped up.
Again, storytelling in a match. We had Darby Allin keep on reaching for the ropes. So what did Jericho have to do to stop that? He goes under the ring. He grabs some gaff tape, which is stronger than duct tape.
Yep.
And tapes Darby Allin's hands behind his back. And I don't understand. Darby Allin puts on a performance after this.
Half the match he wrestles with his hands behind his back
and almost wins.
Yeah. And he gets a tope suicida with the hands. Not even tope suicida. He dives through the middle rope and front flips.
Yeah.
And just comes through the ropes, takes him out, comes in the rope, hits him with a diving crossbody, pins him with his head. And
does a whisper in the wind.
Whisper in the wind, too. It was amazing. He sets up the coffin drop, but we get Jake Hagar from the Inner Circle interrupting. It's a street fight, so there's no DQ. He comes down, and we get Jericho hitting the code breaker, and it's over.
And again, I love that. Jericho's obviously a heel. I love that he needs some help to get over Darby. And that's what makes Darby Allin look so strong, is that Jake Hagar figured that Jericho was having a hard time, so he came out to help.
Perfect. And we end the AEW with no extra pops. Just let the show stand alone, but we end it with a little bit of the bubbly.
Inner Circle comes out with bottles of champagne and pops them all over the place, celebrating Jericho's cheatful win. But a win nonetheless.
5-0.
Yeah, doesn't matter how you win, you win.
You win 5-0. So that's great. AEW did a
AEW,
great show.
I'm going to give the show a 10 out of 10. I don't think there was any downers for this show for me.
We don't even need to ask you, though, who you think won.
No, well, we'll get to NXT, though.
Yeah, so
we can talk about NXT.
Yeah, we'll go to NXT here. We're going to kind of go through this because there was a lot of lulls and there was a lot of content. But as we know, quantity doesn't always equal quality.
Correct.
And I think that was something that they tried something different. Good on them. We open up with a returning Ciampa. Mm-hmm. And Ciampa goes up against a not very well-known Angel Garza. An okay match. Ciampa is Ciampa. There was a really fun part where he ripped off his Mexican flag tights after kneeing him in the corner and then kneed the tights.
A little racist, Ciampa.
But that's okay. And then we get we have a lot of Undisputed Era on our television. A lot.
You have to play to your strengths. Undisputed Era is the strength of NXT.
You're right. So then they get them flanking the ring to try to come after a Ciampa. Ciampa gets his patented crutch. He gets the chair and he sits there and he waits.
And he dares them to come into the ring.
Dares them to come in, and Undisputed Era does nothing. But
they walk away like the heels that they are, and we move on to the next segment.
This one was very hard for Dylan here.
Again, this was great storytelling by NXT here. They go after Velveteen Dream backstage, and they take him out.
He slammed like a crate or something.
Yeah, and
I was unfortunate they didn't show the spot.
Yeah, he's lifeless backstage, and they're yelling at him. Roddy's in his face. This is what happens when you mess with the Undisputed Era. And this actually leads later in the night to find out that Velveteen Dream actually is not going to be able to compete for the NXT North American Championship.
Yep.
And we'll get to that a little bit later. And up next, we had
Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch, two really tough dudes. The Baldhead Brothers taking on Imperium in the form of Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel, which I always want to call Michelle the Shell. That old YouTube video. But great match still.
Yeah, good match.
Oni I really love Oni. And we were talking about, you're like, man, Oni's really great, but Oni's got to have the worst name. I'm like, is it worse than Biff Busick, though?
It's there.
It's there, but great, solid match. Real cool moments there. And we get Imperium going over, establishing their force there in NXT now.
Yeah, I love the gimmick. I think that they play it off very well. They've got the right people to do it. There was no Walter on NXT this week, but that might be a good thing. We don't need to get them every week. Next up, we had Io Shirai versus Kaden Carter. And if you don't know who Kaden Carter is, she was actually a part of the Mae Young Classic last year. And she's been around, kind of jumping around every now and again. You'll see her. Kind of a jobber as well. So we get Io versus, we got another jobber on the...
I wasn't so much a squash as it was to showcase Io's ability and give her a little bit of competition.
Yeah, we knew who was going to win. This was probably, to me, the most predictable NXT I've seen.
Yeah, so this happens, but we get basically a way to showcase Io, and then she comes out and gets a mic, and she says, not Rhea, not Bianca, it's me next. But we get Rhea Ripley interrupting her, coming out, staring her down, calling her out. Io being Io, trying to be heel Io, scatters out the ring.
This is a feud that I am actually looking forward to.
Yep.
I think these two women are going to put on a hell of a match, and I really hope that they can portray this correctly, and either one of these women can win, and I'll be okay with it.
Absolutely. So then we get to Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic, which this is their rubber match. They've traded wins, and they've been putting on some great matches. But then we get an announcement from William Regal that because of the inability to compete next week for the North American title, Velveteen is out, and the winner of Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic will challenge Roderick Strong for the North American title.
Correct.
Now, cool little fact here. I don't know if we'll see him on Dark, but it was announced by AEW that we would get Taz on AEW or AEW Dark. And I only bring this up because there was a little bit of a Twitter exchange between Dominic and Taz. And it was not something super hurtful, but it was just showing Taz as being Taz still. Dominic asked Taz via Twitter in a public setting, hey, Taz, could I use the Taz mission? I've seen it to be very successful in my practices, and I'd love to use it in my arsenal. Thanks. And Taz says, I actually do mind. And next time you can talk to me privately instead of airing it out all in public, and we could talk about this in a more civil manner. But that's my move, and it's choked out many a people. Like, kind of still being Taz, which I thought was cool. But Dominic is pretty strong. I do love the finisher. I love the feast your eyes. Keith Lee, big man that can move.
They did my boy kind of dirty, though. I don't know if you saw on Twitter. They put his finishing move in WWE 2K20, but they didn't put him in there.
Really?
Yeah.
Keith Lee?
No. Dominic Dijakovic.
They put his finisher, but
They
not
put
him?
Feast the Eyes on WWE 2K20 as a finisher, but they did not put Dominic Dijakovic as a character.
Well, yeah, that's crazy.
That's kind of rough.
You know, they might though. He might be one of the
DLC or something.
DLCs, like the Rising Star pack.
Yeah.
Which, you know, WWE 2K comes out on the 22nd, which we'll be picking up and playing. So.
Yeah, and I've seen some of the teasers, and it looks pretty rough.
It looks, the face scan looks awful.
Pretty rough.
Molly Holly looks like Caitlyn Jenner.
Oh,
it
my
looks
goodness.
awful. But this match was a great match. They're really bringing it to each other, being real stiff. And I was not a huge fan of this type of storytelling. We get an amazing match, and we can get a clear winner of this rubber match. And instead, we get Roderick Strong, who, no offense, is half the size of these guys.
Yes.
Comes in and attacks both of them. And I think he attacks Dominic first. Therefore, which should result in a DQ, and the winner is Dominic. But instead, William Regal comes out and says it's a no contest, and that he has to face both of them now next week.
So the annoying part for me is
storytelling.
First of all, what did Roderick Strong think was going to happen? First of all, second of all, it's just lazy storytelling. That you don't know how to end Keith Lee versus Dominic Dijakovic. So I mean, it just seems very lazy to me to do it this way. They should have been a clear-cut winner and a clear-cut loser, because now we're never gonna get the last match. We're never gonna get this match between them.
No, and that really puts a damper on a pretty good feud of a sequence of matches that they had.
Yeah. Next up, we had the original bro, Matt Riddle, against kind of another jobber, Bronson Reed.
He was in the Rising Star tournament, the new to NXT thing. Mm-hmm. Did pretty good. Put on a good match with Riddle. Riddle comes out on top. They do a little fist bump, and Bronson did some weird, awkward. Basically, as Dylan pointed out, he was the, what did you call him?
He's the child from Deadpool 2.
The fire hands guy.
Yeah, I just didn't know that Deadpool 2 came out that long ago. That he's all grown up now.
Yeah, it's just like, feel old yet?
Yeah, that's one of those things.
That's what he looks like now. Yeah, but that was a decent match.
Again, very predictable. Riddle wins.
Yeah, we get backstage. We get a little segment where we get a couple backstage segments to talk about. We get Kushida looking at some X-rays, wearing a cast, and it's announced Kushida has a hairline fracture. He'll be out for a month, which is pretty rough at the hands of Walter. Is what they're kind of playing it up on. Probably why we don't see Walter. And then we're promised some words from Finn Balor. And we just get a video package, and a little disappointed in my boy. He got a job stopper and nothing else. Just a hand tattoo, no other tats.
Yeah, we make fun of those kind of people.
Yeah, we call that the Warped Tour 07.
Oh man, I mean, whatever. Finn Balor's going to be badass no matter what.
Yeah, but that was really rough. We get then a returning Tegan Nox taking on Tainara, or is it
Tainara?
Yeah,
that's
Tainara. And it's a returning Tegan Nox. She hits an awesome reverse senton in the corner. She comes out on top, obviously.
With the shiniest of wizards.
And then we get, for some reason, Dakota Kai coming to her aid because she also does a shining wizard. So I guess they're best friends for that.
Yeah, Team Kick.
And they're interrupted because she calls out Shayna Baszler. It seems like everyone's just calling out Shayna Baszler.
I don't think she didn't call out Shayna Baszler.
Really?
She was getting interviewed.
That's right. They were just asking about a return.
They were just interviewing her, and Shayna Baszler and her two henchmen come out. I don't get it, because now what? We've got Tegan Nox, Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair,
Io
Shirai, all like Candice LeRae, you could even say, because she was just recently in it. What are they doing? Choose a feud, stick to it. I don't understand what is all this.
Not just that. You had 3 people call you out, And you didn't answer any of them, but you answered the person that didn't say anything?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I was like, what is that?
Like, go back to the drawing
And she has
board.
at least a little bit of a better numbers advantage. There's 2 against 3.
Yeah.
You could have singled out Rhea Ripley, who's huge, and that makes sense. But yeah, again, bad storytelling. We then get an exciting matchup.
Great.
We get revenge and storytelling. We get Boa, who was attacked by Killian Dane during his match with Cameron Grimes that he got squashed in with a double foot stomp. He gives us a promo in his native tongue, which I guess means he's calling out Killian Dane. Killian Dane beats Boa. That's what we get.
That's it.
And the only thing that we get out of that is Killian Dane's walking up the ramp.
Would you say you knew who was going to win that match?
I heard the name Boa, and I said, "Oh,
he's not winning."
Yeah, I heard him give his promo in a different language, and I said, "If Vince McMahon is there, he is losing."
True. Yeah.
So then I was like, "Okay, unless it's Walter, which he probably is like, oh yeah,
anything you want,
anything you want." See Kyle. So, we get Killian Dane walking up the ramp. Pete Dunne comes out for his main event match against Damian Priest.
Kind of interrupting Killian Dane's celebration.
Yeah, interrupts it. Killian Dane points at him like, "You stupid bloke, bloody bloke. You have less hair on your body than me, and
I'm more manly. You're not."
And Pete Dunne, being Pete Dunne, grabs his finger, breaks his finger. Referees have to pull him apart. Pete Dunne and Damian Priest put on a good long match. This is probably the only match that had some time to work and some good storytelling too.
Yeah, the only match probably filled with the meat and potatoes.
Good spots, stiff moves, but you had some problems with Priest.
Yeah, Damian Priest is not a very good sell. I don't know how old he is, but like some of the moves that Pete Dunne was hitting usually are a lot more effective. But I don't know. It just seemed like Damian Priest was not giving Pete Dunne the right what's the word? Yeah, like the respect. Like sell his moves, man. Like this is what you're doing. Pete Dunne is
the bruiserweight.
The bruiserweight, dude. He deserves that at least. But this match was a great match. Damian Priest did come out on top.
Very heel fashion.
Yep. What did he get, a low blow?
That's what happened. The referee was all tangled up in the corner there, and when the referee tried to squirm on out, he hits one of the jewels, or the Undertaker Brock Lesnar classic, and then he hits his Crossroads.
Yeah, can't say that though.
Oh, you're right. So what does he call it then?
I don't know.
The crossbow.
The crossbow.
There you go. He hits his crossbow. The crossbow.
Oh, Jesus.
The boa. Shout out to our boy. And plants Pete for the 1, 2, 3, and that ends NXT. So overall, you said it. 10 out of 10 AEW. What do you give NXT?
NXT is probably going to be like a 5 or 6.
5 or 6, that low?
Probably a 6. I'll give it a 6.
I give NXT a 7.
A 7?
I give it a 7. I think Ciampa coming back is cool. I think doing Undisputed things is cool. I think that Keith Lee and Dominic was a good match, and I love seeing Pete Dunne. But I would go on and say that it was a 10 out of 10 for me on AEW as well.
Let me rant real quick, just for half a minute. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go through the card real fast. Ciampa, Angel Garza. Ciampa wins. You know that. You had Oni and Birch versus Imperium. You know Imperium's gonna win. They're the hot new thing. Io Shirai versus Caden Carter. You know Io Shirai's gonna win. You had Keith Lee versus Dominik Dijakovic, which was probably one of the matches that I wasn't too sure on. Riddle, Bronson Reed. You know Riddle's going to go over. Tegan Nox and Tainara. Again, Tegan Nox is coming back from injury. You know she's going to go over. Boa versus Killian Dane. Obviously, Killian goes over. And then Pete Dunne and Damian Priest was the only other match on this card that I thought I didn't really know who was going to win. So it was really a bummer for me for every match that came out, I was like, well, that guy's going to win. That guy's going to win. That guy's going to win. And I was right every time.
Yeah, and I think that's where AEW came in, is they have such good storytelling, and the records matter.
Yeah.
The tag team tournament gives some angle of, I don't know who's going to win the tournament because it's up in the open. And then you get the surprises with Lucha attacking SCU. You get Santana Ortiz. That's one where you knew they were going to win, but then you get them calling out Young Bucks, and that's the surprise. And, and you see them just getting brutalized. You get Rijo versus Britt Baker, and she's in Pennsylvania. Is she going to get to walk into Pittsburgh with the belt?
Yep.
You don't know. But and again, there's some of it that goes to Rijo, but how is she going to beat a Britt Baker? Lucha Bros, Jungle Boy, Marco Stunt. Again, the tournament. We saw an upset with Private Party taking out the number 1 seed, the Young Bucks. It could happen again. Omega, Hangman, Moxley, Pac. Where Omega and Hangman not going to get it together? And Pac and the heels, and the heels, Mox and Pac are going to go over. No, we get a turn on a partner. And now we don't know where this whole 3-way feud of Omega Pac, and where's Hangman go from here? And then Darby Jericho, like, there's part of you thinks, I don't think Darby's going to win because we've got the Cody thing set up, but his in-ring performance, his ability to still stay strong, it was just better.
They definitely had me on the edge of my seat.
And I think this year, by a week, I would even say more than week one, by that big of a margin, AEW wins this week for me.
Again, 3-0, according to the D-Generation XL podcast.
3-0. Again, like and subscribe, and make sure you guys comment and share, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below, whether you think we're wrong, what matches you really enjoyed on either show. And we're going to keep covering with you. We'll bring you the Nielsen ratings again. Last week, week 2, AEW beats NXT in the Nielsen ratings. And you guys can go ahead and look those numbers up exactly. We had still in the millions.
For AEW.
And AEW has actually announced before this show total viewers that they've had for the last 2 weeks. This is the 3rd week.
14 million.
14 million. 14
Yikes.
million people are watching wrestling, and it's never a better time to be a wrestling fan.
Agreed.
Like we said, match of the week, Joey Janela taking it to Kenny Omega in an unsanctioned lights-out match on AEW Dark. And some other cool wrestling news is we got NWA Power on Tuesdays competing with AEW Dark. We get a returning Aaron Rex, a.k.a. Damian Sandow, coming back to wrestling.
And Impact's also on Tuesdays.
Impact's also on Tuesdays. We got the Brian Cage storyline with Melissa and OVE. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan, and we're going to keep covering it here on D-Generation XL podcast because we bring you all things wrestling
All around the world. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next time.
See ya.